Here we go. As was indicated, what we're going to do is start not at level 1 with this campaign. Right? Everyone already has reached level 3. They have their archetype. They have a little bit of practice. They've already come together. They've been able to develop their powers a little bit on their own. And now that they are together and they are this scrappy crew aboard a ship named the Rising Tide, we as DMs want to take them on an adventure. I have filled out already several levels worth of content, and much like we did with the SWAT report for the PC section, I'm leaving the last little bit open so that we can consider where do we want this to go and how do we want this to end. Also, I wanted to use this as an opportunity to introduce a mechanic that we haven't covered so far in any of our end of the week campaigns. With last week's horror-themed campaign, we didn't delve into the sanity mechanic fully, but there is a mechanic similar to that we will be invoking. Stick with me, okay? All right. So we're level 3 heading into this. In order to reach the milestone level 4, these are the things we want our players to do. I personally do not use experience points in my campaigns. You may at home, with your game, if maybe that is just the method and the methodology that you prefer. How I'm going to present this is by concept. Once they accomplish a certain goal, they'll level up. If you want to take these ideas and break them down into experience points gains, you can do so. All you'd have to do is rewatch the VOD, or when this goes up on YouTube, probably sometime on Sunday, then you can adjust this as necessary. So, everyone is level 3, right? We're starting level 3. We have a little bit of room. So, to hit level 4, this is what we want our players to do. The goal is to prepare for the annual Harlem High Triathlon and showcase some possible allies, rivals, and enemies while setting the mood of the location. They should ultimately lose given the state of their ship and inexperience, but be offered a high enough rank to stand a chance at another race. The methodology that we can employ for reaching this milestone is a chase sequence from the DMG. And if you have your DMG open, you can crack it open to page 252. You can run, we call it a triathlon, meaning that there's going to be at least 3 different things done. Well, look, you can race the ship. There are competitions for delivering cargo and doing whatever floater stuff is there. These could be knot tying competitions. These could be climbing rope ladders. These could be, these could be different athletic or acrobatic feats to show that you are a good sailor as an individual or as a crew. And this is an excellent warm-up to showcase the mechanics that are going to be needed later and throughout the campaign. Dorgum says, so we're forcing a failure instead of leaving the result up to the dice. Yes and no. How I would run it is they're not going to win first place out the bat. They are level 3 characters, and they're going up against experienced sailors with much better ships. Much better trained crew. However, the dice can still, offer them a high enough rank that they can get into the next race. Now, Dorgrim, if you're running this and you want your level 3 players to win a triathlon right out the bat, or even offer them a 1% chance, that's fine, and we can offer that same up here. This is the idea, though. The primary goal is to run them through this kind of demo level, right? To have them warm up their skills, work as a team, learn some terminology, and go through a skill challenge, and perhaps some light combat or combat style situations. This is also going to allow us to foreshadow different groups. that might end up being rivals, that might end up being enemies, depending on your player feedback. I don't know. Let's say that there's a ship full of orcs, right? And your players just say, "Oh, we don't like those orcs. They've got to be bad guys." So you make them the bad guys, even though you wanted the ship full of elves to be the bad guys. Meanwhile, the ship full of elves maybe just end up being the rival. But this is allowing your players to help set the scene and the tone and to glom onto different ideas. And you know what, just, yep, you're pointing it out for newbie DMs. What I would do, Dorgrim, and I'm glad you brought that up, and I took no offense at that. You know, you or others are welcome to bring up points like that. As a DM, if you close a door, open a window. You know, do you have to always? No. But yes, if you're forcing something with no other way out, that can make players embittered. In this case, though, I would want to make sure that, you know, given the context that, look, their ship and crew, you know, you're doing the best you can, but there are other people who've been doing this for far longer. But be offered a high enough rank to stand a chance at another race. And in fact, maybe they're still in the top 10, right? Because they do have spirit, they do have some experience. And they've played their cards right, and so they can walk away. You know, they might not get 500,000 gold pieces as the prize or whatever, but maybe the crew does get 1,000 gold pieces to split amongst itself, and it came in 9th place or whatever else. So it's giving them a goal. Oh, we want to win next time. We got to get better. You still gave them a prize. You gave them encouragement, and you foreshadowed some things to come. So, after you go through the preparation, is this 1 session? Yeah. Is this 10 sessions? Sure. However many sessions that you think it takes to get through descriptions, role-playing, if you want to have each part of the race be a session, well, it's a triathlon. So there's 3 sessions right there. 5 if you want to have a complete opener and intro to the race, your 3 parts, and then you want to have a close. However you want to do this as a DM. However efficient your players are. Things like that. Again, this is the beauty of Milestones. So, once this is over, you know, you give them their prize, whatever it is, and they hit level 4. Now, to hit level 5, this is what they have to do. A patron noticed how well they did despite the loss and offers them money and or resources for their ship. With a job. An excavation team he is also sponsoring needs supplies delivered to them in the jungle. Upon arrival, it seems the team is missing in the site. So now we have, look, again, we closed the door, but we opened a window. There's some wealthy patron that says, you did a good job. Look, I'm going to give you this amount of money. I need you to make a rather routine delivery. Here's the coordinates. Here's the cargo. And I'll pay you when you know, half now and half when you get back, something like that. And so it's trust building. Oh, this is going to be an easy mission. All we have to do is float out above the jungle, land at the campsite, and deliver the supplies. Well, of course, things aren't always going to be that easy, and we see that we run an investigation because the camp is abandoned, and it looks like they all might have gone down into the dungeon. And so I made a note here, if you want to build a random dungeon, then you can go to page 294 and take elements there. And you might even want to throw in elements of tombs or treasure vaults. So the concept here, in level 4, they're going to go dungeon delving, a little bit of exploration of the jungle, of the landscape, and there might be some traps and some combat involved. Now, what I don't have listed here is what happened to the people in the dungeon. That is something for you to think about. It's something, if you want, you can keep open-ended and get reaction from your players, because your players might say, oh, I bet it was those orcs. Oh, we don't like those orcs. I bet the orcs are responsible. And if you think that's compelling enough and your party's really getting on board with this, maybe orcs did it. Your players don't know what you have planned. But think of something. What happened here that the crew of this like this archaeological dig went missing? Are they still alive? Are they all dead? Are they just missing? We had a dungeon crawl, and something can come from that. Whatever it is, I would have it be somewhat mysterious or beyond the current capabilities of the party. Because you can explore that later. Alright, so we had a dungeon crawl, and they come back, and lo and behold, here's a reward. Now, the goal. We are going to introduce a moral challenge of what to do with the treasure. Right? This was a treasure vault, or they found things along the way. Are they going to keep the treasure from the excavation site that the patron owns or whatever? Or are they going to report it to the patron? Now, you as a DM, or we as a DM, can reward them with fame or infamy either way. We're giving them a moral choice. With resources, the party can make upgrades on the ship as well as pursue downtime goals and their IBFs. Now, maybe the patron will only give them, 10,000 gold for the effort. Maybe the treasure is worth 40,000 gold. They don't have to report the treasure, and the patron never really mentioned anything. He just knows there's an archaeological dig. So if the party really wants to just keep the treasure, it could earn more, or it could even try double dipping. Keep the treasure and report things back to the patron and get the extra 10 for the effort. Here, we have a goal of downtime. Downtime is talked about on page 127 to 131. As well, it talks about what happens if you own a ship. Right? Now some responsibilities come here. We started the game and we're considering the ship is already in repair. Everything's fine. Well, look, over travel, over, getting the job done, maybe some nails have come loose. Maybe there's some maintenance that needs done. Well, owning a ship, as we explored in our SWAT report, is itself, it's an upkeep cost. So yeah, you may have been paid 10,000 for, being truthful with the patron. But how much of that is going to go towards ship upkeep and paying your NPC crew? As DMs, though, you also need to consider that. Yep, that is correct, Dorgrim. If you know the page and want to give it to, otherwise that's just a good general reference. So, the concept here is reputation management, a possibility for alignment shifts, and some kind of a skill challenge as people go through their downtime. This is just as much a part of storytelling. It's a chance to catch your breath, it's a chance for developing yourself, and it's a chance to improve yourself. And what is leveling up but improving yourself? So this could very well be a month, right? This downtime could reflect a month of repairs, of studying in libraries, things like that, because you're waiting for your next big job to come in. And so everyone does some freelance stuff until the captain gives the call. Well, hey, a call comes in. Now, our milestone to reach level 7. The goal, based on what was done during the downtime, a clue has been found for the whereabouts of Ethel's lost relic. A rival group also learns of this and seeks its acquisition. So maybe if there was a boat of elves and a boat of orcs in the race, they saw the orcs as the enemies and the elves as more like standoffish rivals. In this case, they learn that the elf team, or the elf boat, whatever you want to call it, is also onto this. The party must navigate political waters this time to secure a salvage permit and then use clues to race to the site before the rivals can do the same and claim the prize for themselves. Now, this is a new mechanic that we have not discussed in our other campaigns. This is honor and honor checks. This is on the DMG, page 264 and 265. Honor is a score, effectively, that everyone starts with upon character creation. Here we're introducing it because by this point, the characters have made a name for themselves and have been noticed somewhat by higher society. And so now how they carry themselves is going to be important. So based on the rules here, what I suggest, and you could do things differently if you want to run this concept yourself, allow the players to give their characters a starting honor score from a pool of 8, 10, 10, 11, 11. And let them talk it out. Who's the most honorable among them? Who's the least honorable? Who's in the middle? Because from here on out, you will be checking their honor scores, not just alignments or how they're balanced against a background. There will be a little circle on their character sheets that will have an honor score. Norton the Knoll seems to have been noticed. Is that a good thing? This milestone is going to focus on concepts of socialization, and you're going to get to know about the politics of the area, right? There are different calamities, there are different ruler statuses that are going on. If you need to get a salvage permit, maybe you actually need to have it endorsed by the different regions, because if you have to bring the salvage through those regions, you need a permit for each of them, or some such thing. So if you want to make the milestone quick as a DM, it's a universal salvage permit. You can get it in any region. If you want to force your players to explore a little bit more, learn more about the area that you generated, have them get a stamp of approval in each of the regions. And then what you're going to do is they're going to learn about the ruler status in each of the different locations, right? Contested leadership, feared tyrant, a mysterious anonymous cabal. And of course, what's going on? There's a plague or a famine in the jungle. There's a scandal that threatens powerful families in the mountain range. Hey, Bobstick, thank you. You're pretty tired, gonna head out if you stream again. Okay, I'm sorry, Bobstick. I'll tell you what, are you on our Discord at all, Bobstick? If not, join us there. And what we can do is, I can, okay, you're new here. All right. Well, yeah, thanks to Jam Jam. Jam Jam is awesome. And, I'm glad that you're here. We will make your character, so stick with it, Bobstick. If you want, I can make it off screen and hand it over to you. Or if you want to wait a little bit, I can make one for you on screen. Oh, and Dork Immortal, too. Thank you very much for the follow. I just saw a notification in chat there. I'm sure in a couple seconds I'll get a notification up here as well. All right. Well, I will hope to see you again and later then, Bobstick. Rest well, and thank you for coming along with us. We'll get you up to speed. We'll get you understanding D&D in no time. It's not too difficult to do. Look what... Hey, Norton found treasure. Norton found, Burke booty. you dug it up. See you later, Bobstick. So, during this milestone as DMs, you can have them explore. And maybe you just give a vignette of each section. If you want it to be easy sailing, smooth sailing for them, spend 15 minutes, 20 minutes, a half hour in every location. Give them the gist. Or, again, they don't know any better. Give them a universal salvage permit. Now that they have this, they are level 8. They're level 7, and they're ready to go out to sea. So, in order to reach level 8, Ivalon, hello, welcome. This is kind of I'm kind of getting into your territory here, Ivalon. You inspired me. I'm referencing the DMG. I'm referencing encounters. You just got done helping. Oh yeah, that's you're talking about Flax Out Gaming in his Lancer class, correct, Ivalon? Okay, and I saw that you two were hanging out in one of the voice rooms. That was really cool of you to do, and I appreciate it. Oh, you made it more of a dex-based... Really, as a Lancer, as a dex-based class? That's interesting. Or you mean like strengthened dex, or you want it to be dex primary? Alright, so in order to reach level 8, these are the things that we want to accomplish. The sky and sea alike need to be sailed, clearing the turbulent winds of the mountains, which are harrowing to even skilled sailors. The crew can take either route by river under the mountain or go over it. You're giving your players a choice. Dexterity because Lancers are about jumping around the battlefield. Okay. Although jumping, though, seems to be strength, because all of the long distance jumping and the height based is strength based. What did you make a custom? Do you use your dex instead, or what did you end up doing for that? So we give our players a choice. The crew can take either route. You go into detail of the land, the travels, and allow for a personal conversation and growth. Eventually, they're going to reach the sea and navigate to the location, right? So here we go. They're in the lake, and without even needing to raise their balloon, although they can if they want, maybe it's just a little bit more expensive but more direct because they have some fuel to burn or something. They can travel through the mountain here, through the mountain, and out to sea on one of the rivers. And then they can get to their sea destination. So far, oh, this is nice. Everything's on the up and up. We're facing the horizon, right? You know, everyone, there's wind in the sails or wind against the balloon, and they're blowing out to sea exactly where they want to go. We made it basically where archetypes are chosen at level 1, and the special lance training is now no disadvantage at 5 feet, and you can choose to use dex instead of strength. Instinctively, I want to say that's too powerful. Can I support that with logic and reason? Not this instant. My first impression, though, is that that's what I got. But I mean, I could take a look at it later, also. But that I don't know, that just seems kind of powerful. Ah, Tin Cat's finally off, and if you don't mind not dropping F-bombs, I'd appreciate it. Trying to keep it PG-13. Hey, but every movie gets one, right? Alright, so they make their way out to sea. Look at this. On the Dungeon Master's Guide on page 118, there is a table for sea encounters. They'll reach their destination after 2 combats or 4 benign encounters, whichever comes first. So we're measuring, I mean, they could be out at sea for days, hours, I don't know, weeks. However long do you want to run it as a DM? Though, set some kind of a threshold. Either 2 combats or 4 benign encounters. Something along those lines. King says technically we get 2, but no one cashes in on their second F-bomb, for we all live in fear of what happens upon the third. Oops, yes. I got you, Evelyn. So here we are going through travel, you know, so we get some travel log, we get some navigation. We have a character who is proficient with navigation tools. And we're going to get some encounters at sea. Are they going to find, I don't know, wreckage and someone floating on a board? Are they going to have merfolk traders pop up? Are they going to have Sahagin try and sap the ship? So reaching the location is the milestone. Now they're level 8. In order to reach level 9, this is what we need them to do. Evelyn wants to release the Kraken. Gaming said, that being said, it's not finesse abusable, and it's back to only lances, javelins, and spears, but only lances get to use dex. All right, to reach level 9, sorry, I had a little bit of water in my water filter here. The group must travel underwater to search for the lost relic in a sunken ship graveyard / cave system. The stress is high, and there is a rival group in the area which they might encounter somewhere in the wreckage. Now, fighting is not allowed as a condition out here for whatever reason. Laws of the land, they swore an oath, something along those lines. This is going to be a test of their honor. We've introduced the honor system, now test that honor. Because, right, who would know anyway if it came to blows with this other group? The other group probably wouldn't say anything. In fact, the other group might even instigate it. They should be allowed to find the relic. So, Dorgrim, you know, just as before we said that they're not going to get first place in the race, here, they should be allowed to find the relic, even if it causes them some bumps and bruises. Method: a high hazard and trap dungeon, both underwater and dry, because there's air pockets in the caves or whatnot, with some light elements of environmental combat. Purposeful tussling with rivals is on the party. When you're designing the dungeon, you might have a couple natural combat encounters, but this should be an optional one, right? It's a moral decision. It's a decision of honor. Will they uphold their word that as salvagers they're not to fight over a claim? The mix of ship parts and such can employ page 295 of the DMG for general dungeon traits, and that is a percentile generator. The worst part, oh, I'm sorry, let me go back. Tin Cat, I'm honestly glad you stream when you do. I work till late, and you're sorry about the F word. No, I get you. I'm not personally upset. It's the culture, the channel culture I want to make sure I'm cultivating. With the stupid hecking people I work with to make me so mad. Tired of passive-aggressive bosses that expect me to do 2 shifts worth of stuff when I work alone. And that's when Ivlon wants to release the Kraken, possibly on your managers. And you continue. The worst part of your job is when we don't get breaks, so I just walked around for 11 hours straight today. My legs hurt so bad they're shaking. Sorry for complaining. No. You should vent here. Look, I have a lot of guys and girls who come to the store and they'll talk about work and everything that's happening. Sometimes I feel like a shadow prime minister of my city because I know what's going on in all the locations. I know who's doing what. I would ask the same thing too, Dorgrim. And do you have do they have those stress mats at your work? You know, like the squishy rubber ones, the anti-fatigue mats for you to stand on? Flaxout wants to know who goes there. Arugula salad is out there. Arugula is lurking. That sounds like some spy phrase, right? You're at the train station, and there's someone who fits the description of your contact, and you go up and you're like, the arugula is lurking, and he responds, balsamic vinaigrette is the best dressing, and that's when you make the handoff. But arugula salad says, that chefy. Flax out, do you think that's Eldritch Blast the face? Stranger danger. Twitching intensifies. Oh, by the way, yes, Flax Out Gaming is currently a magical cat girl. Hey, there's so twitching after an Eldritch Blast to the face. Balsamic. Tin Cat says, my Subway is inside a gas station and is owned by the gas station, so they cut expenses whenever they can. Oh, they don't. That could just be a call to OSHA then. You know, I would talk with maybe your county board of like your Department of Health, and make it an anonymous complaint that they don't have anti-fatigue mats or the working conditions, you should be able to do so anonymously. There's other ways to go about that too. Ivlon noms on Flax's tail. Hi, Arugula. We are going through a nautical style campaign. We're going over the milestones. So we're throwing out ideas on what to have your party go through in order to earn every level as they make their way through a story. Clark, how'd things go with Mrs. Clark the other night? Haven't had a chance to talk to her about it. Well, she actually gave some input into the place that we made for the campaign setting, Clark. As she plays music, as she's studying music, we made a guitar-shaped island range, or not island, mountain range, that then kind of bled out into, because we're having a nautical theme, right? So there's a huge inland lake, and there's these floating islands. Because she liked the idea of island, because we're doing nautical, and I brought up, well, one type of island in a fantasy setting is floating. And so what I did was we made musical note-looking islands that float above the freshwater lake. And then there's a guitar here that kind of spills water out into it. So she actually had direct input in our campaign. Dorgrim, Tincat, and check with your state about the breaks, lunches, labor laws. That is absolutely correct. Tincat, get some Epsom salt and take a nice hot soak in the tub. Oh, good practical advice. Get a bath bomb. Flax pulls away from Ivlon, hissing before Eldrick blasting him in the groin for touching my floof tail without permission. You don't get paid enough to go home every night in pain. That's correct, and that's why you have these resources available to you, Tin Cat. Dork Immortal tosses Arugulus. Is this a dwarf? You know, like, go ahead, toss me. Norton does not like to see so much nausea, so much lunch losing. That's true. It's hard enough to already hunt down a stray adventurer to eat. Now you gotta get a backup ration. Flaxout says, my tail and ears are holy. Permission must be asked before touching. Okay, so we have them to reach level 9. They're going through an underwater dungeon. So our transmutation wizard and our druid are going to get to put in some work here. Because you're going to need water breathing or alter self or other things along those lines to get through it. This could also lead to a little bit of 3D&D, right? If you have a water-filled chamber, you now are not just thinking laterally, but you're thinking in 3 dimensions with movement, puzzles, combat, etc. Now, may Norton touch? Very gently. Norton the Knoll touches ears gently. Yeah, exactly, Delcorin. Frog Mario suits for everyone. Tin Cat says you're officially done complaining. The stream is a place I can relax. Time to nerd out and chill. Hey, dudes, either way, Tin Cat, I think you're going to find a lot of us were giving you good advice. We do have a concern for you as a fellow laborer. And Norton the gentle knoll. Norton the nice knoll, the G-N-I-C-E. Unless he's made of rock, and then he's G-N-E-I-S-S. Hey, Buddha Belly, thank you very much for the 10. And Delcorin, Delcorin's giving you a face. Delcorin's been knocked down a peg, or 10. Gentle for now. Clark says, interesting that she had direct input into the campaign. Feels thinking, man. Well, you know, we were talking to her, Clark, and we wanted to know more about her. And she said that she studies music. Well, we're in the middle of making a map, and I said, all right, so how about we do this? Look, this is a fantasy world. And I drew the guitar mountain, and she was into it. People were calling this like the Hendrix Hills and the Purple Haze Swamp and things like that. And if we were going with floating islands, which she seemed to like the aesthetics and or mechanics of, I thought, well, why don't we just make them? Let's make them floating islands. Like they're like 100 feet or more in the air, and they have these roots that kind of dangle down into the fresh lake. And she really dug it. And I think it was a good lesson that D&D is what you want it to be. Darkwolf touches Norton's ears. Grr, no. Norton the Knoll is greater than Nasty the Nork. Dork Immortal, true. Tin Cat, although he seemingly likes to call out lurkers. Well, you know, there's actually a bit of a command for that, Dork Immortal. If you type in ! Who goes there, it will randomly tag someone in the channel. And that can oftentimes get attention and be a fun role-playing prompt. It'd be cool if the mountains had holes in it, so when it's windy... Yes, I was thinking that, Tin Cat. In my personal campaign, we call a place like that Haunting Valley, because as the wind blows through the caves, it makes kind of these haunting like woodwind sounds or whatnot. And so I think things like reeds could be hollow, and you know, there's a lot of cattails that could cause like percussion or, you know, other sounds. You know, the lake is filled with frogs and birds that sing. So I think in this campaign theme of Musica, we can have a lot of environmental effects that act with the wind and the water and the tides to create harmony and music. That's an excellent idea, Tin Cat. So Norton, who goes there? Well, Norton's on guard duty. Respect, is that you? It stops and moves forward. Suddenly responds, "Taxi, bro, what do you do?" Well, so then the question is, Norton the Knoll, did you order an Uber, and is Respect your driver? Because the taxi's here. If not, I don't know. Is that an enemy? Is it just an NPC passing by? Let's see. Yeah, it's on cooldown. Clark says, also a precautionary tale. Even at the immortal age of 19, partying for 16 hours straight is a bad idea. Now, is this celebrating your finals party, or are you talking about a marathon D&D session, Clark? In Respect is Respect smiles. Norton says, I called no driver. Darkwolf, insert the intro to kiss the girl. Yeah, from Little Mermaid. Flaxout climbs into my corner, eating only the finest of seafood, tuna. Norton is perplexed. Tin Cat says, it'd also be cool if bards got inspired while listening to the music, whatever kind of buff that would provide. Well, bards have something called bardic inspiration that they naturally produce, Tin Cat. Kiss that girl. Alright. So, they get the relic. In order to reach level 10, this is what happens. They return to the ships and sail back to the interior. High winds make flight impossible, and the group is waylaid in the treacherous river caves beneath the mountain. You see here? In fact, I could probably even draw something like that. We'll use a darker brown. Right? And so we have the river as it kind of, like, maybe it does this, and then there's actually like a big cavern. And so we have some tunnels that the river has flowed through. Whoops. Maybe there's even a little bit of a lake here. And then we can put the same thing over here. Maybe this one's all sorts of like twisty-turny, and it's quite the journey. I'm a poet and didn't even know it. In fact, it might even stretch out, and the swamp even kind of like comes into the area a little bit here. Oops. Anyway, you get the idea what we're going. So as they're traveling under the mountain because it's too unsafe to go over, they're waylaid beneath it in sort of a pirate's cove under the mountain. And this is where you can reveal the villain. Maybe it's the orcs. Maybe it's not. Maybe the orcs were a red herring. Pay attention as a DM to your players. What do they like? What are they showing interest in? And you can modify your story as it goes along. Romonger, hello, hello. Welcome. Konnichiwa to you. I swear I heard mention of tiefling tuna is D&D's version of catfish, says Dell. Buddha Belly's always too strong. Oh no, you lost 1,000. Clark says that map is so cool, by the way. Really awesome for you to include the Miz the way you did. I was happy to do so, and she had some good. She had great insight and ideas, and it works. Can you conceptualize this as a place that exists in a fantasy world? Heck yeah! And what's even better is if your players have personal investment in the game, they are going to be more likely to pay attention and to contribute to the world, to continue contributing. If they're completely detached, they treat it, you know, maybe with a little bit more violence or carelessness than what you would hope for as a DM. But anyway, Clark, you're really welcome. You know, she was talkative, she was very kind, and I was happy to include her, and it wasn't just me. There was a lot of us that were talking to her. Tin Cat says, at one point there needs to be a random undead band. That'd be hilarious encounter. Hey, we could do that, right? It's a fantasy land. Tycho Boom is the villain, a 100% true good villain. And Flaxout says, I believe a good campaign is a mixture of prepared and improv. I do agree, Flax. Especially if you're planning it based on events and not specific, like, EXP goals or something. In my opinion. In my opinion. Alright, so they return to the ship, sail back to the interior. High winds make it impossible. Right, you could have given them the option on the way out, if they want to fly and stretch their wings, that they can do that. But on the way back, you want to force them into this encounter. A villain is introduced, not the rivals. Not the rivals. That were out at sea. And they could have been possibly at the race. The relic is handed over to keep their lives, and to make matters worse, monster encounters are higher as they float along in their injured boat. Have the hermits stressing that they may have been identified, because we have 2 runaways aboard the crew. That's just with the PCs, let alone any NPCs. Method. This is what we're trying to do. Now, you know, we've had a couple levels of smooth sailing, pardon the pun. Now we want to heat treat our players. We're going to have several harrowing combats and hazards on appropriate encounter tables, or we can manufacture them, such as mountainous ones, river, or jungle. By this point, they should be injured, tired, wet, and stressed, much like the state of their ship. In fact, the party morale, the way the party looks, could be personified by the ship, the rising tide. Concepts, high combat. They're level 9, they're going into 10, they're going to earn 10. They had a couple levels where it was, you know, fun exploration. Now you want to bloody them up a little bit, right? We got to reset the things. We got to make sure that they know their power, and that they know their place, and that they know the villain of the campaign. Especially because he has the thing that they're looking for. Or she. Or it. I trust you to be creative. Bromonger, womp womp. Tin Cat, so have you ever had a campaign where there wasn't really a villain, just 2 sides and the whole thing was a moral gray area? Yes. That was a concept we actually explored a couple weeks ago, Tin Cat. We had no big bad evil guy, and we had no MacGuffin for the plot. Now, have I run such a thing? Personally, a couple of my campaigns ended on moral decisions as the final fight. Because it was an internal fight with the party, effectively. I can't throw a boss monster that's greater than internal conflict. Like moral conflict. In fact, my last campaign ended with a third rail option. That instead of fighting, like there were forces brewing on two sides of a big conflict, and the party actually, technically three, there was for sure two. There was technically a third, and the party couldn't decide which one to back, and so they all just kind of noped out of there. That's the abbreviated version of what happened. Dorgrim says, Tin Cat, my homebrew setting is like that. Sure, there were villains, but the world story was a gray area that the party could weigh in on if they discovered it. Clark says, I think you may have missed it, but yeah, 16 hours of celebrating in the end of finals is what's going to be repeated on Wednesday because you're young and dumb. Well, no, I read it. I asked if you meant like D&D partying, like you had a marathon session, or if we're talking like you're throwing back some cold ones with the boys. Death Count, after finishing his backstory for his PC, he sits in his spot and ponders if he should draw from the deck of many things. Darkwolf says, do eat. Death Count draws. Ooh, the skull. Okay. So, if you have enough experience at some point tonight, Death Count, if you go through the random tomb, ! Random tomb, and you defeat it, I will give you bonus EXP. You don't have to do it. But if you do, I will give you a bonus because you defeated death in the tomb. Flax says, the campaign I'm building right now is full of overpowered PCs who still need help from max level custom stat NPCs on occasion. Sounds like a very brutal world, Flax. Alright, to reach milestone 11. By the way, you can see where we're going and where I'd like to get some input. Because I would like the campaign to end at level 16. Oh, you were the designated driver? Well, that is nice of you. Death Count goes into a tomb. Taking on the challenge, a skeleton appears. A 14 or greater, you attack normally. 5, oh no. Death Count is dead, and no amount of clapping is going to bring you back from where you were sent. Dork Immortal draws from the deck and gets the same result. So, death hangs over you, Dork Immortal. If you have enough experience points and you want to challenge the tomb, if you beat the tomb, I'll give you bonus EXP. And it seems like Death Count might need a res, please. Flax out, books my happy cat butt out of here. And that's in the forest because of troll. Let's see, so you got a 5 plus a 3. Oh, unfortunately the troll catches the tiger by the tail. I don't know, what are you... Disadvantage saved? Did you, So you went into the forest, a troll pounced out, you attack with disadvantage, and so... Oh, that was a 1... Oh, you rolled a 1d20 instead. But, okay, but you needed a disadvantage, not a normal roll, so you have 11 and 18. Okay, so, in this case, yeah, if, well, no, hang on, is that, oh, no, I'm sorry, a couple of you were adventuring at once. It was Death Count with the normal roll. Flax out needed disadvantage, and you accidentally rolled the 1d20. So you rolled the 2d20, and that's 11, plus your modifier does defeat the troll. And do try and watch the F-bombs, Flax. Alright. Now, they come back. They're weary. Maybe they're demoralized. Their ship is battered. Now, as the DM taketh, so too the DM should giveth. Okay? The patron from before has another job for them, and frankly, they need the money. He will pay for the ship repairs up front and provide a bonus on the back end because of the nature of the work. They must float above to the islands and recover a payment due to him by an elusive wood elf. He provides them all the legal documentation to commission them as privateers in his employment. So, this is going to be a little bit of downtime again, right? They need to repair their ship. They need to raise their morale by pursuing their individual goals. There's the upkeep to owning a ship on page 119 of the DMG. Also, after what happened, some of the crew are going to quit, like the NPC crew. Some of the crew are going to swap out. Maybe their contract is up. Maybe they quit. I don't know. Maybe some of the crew died. Pardon me. And they're going to need replacing. It shouldn't be too difficult because of the tough times, right? If we go back to what we manufactured for the region, the current calamity in the entire region is that there's an economic depression. Finding sailors and laborers will not be too difficult. So we have another level for downtime, research, shipbuilding, and upgrading, stuff like that. And now this is the second time they've encountered this patron who, you know, he's above suspicion. He has the legal paperwork here to say, look, you're like a private bounty hunter of sorts. Go out, find this person, and recover what is due to me. Now, to reach level 12, they find the shirking wood elf, and he has proof he can pay them better. He tries to turn them against the tiefling patron. If they can give him 2 days to finish the sail and escape, he'll pay them more for their trouble. This is going to be improvisation and roleplay. This is going to be a moral decision, right? We have a moral encounter. Do they want to betray the patron again, or for the first time? Do they want to know more about this NPC, or are they going to stay loyal to the patron and capture him, or if not capture him, then recover what was taken from the patron, what the patron is due? Or are they willing to take more money and whistle and look the other way for 2 days, go back and tell the patron, oh shoot, we looked, like we even found evidence, here's his hat, and there's nothing we could do. And they may not get a full reward, but they were paid up front for their half, and they tried, and they came back with evidence. Again, we have pirates, we have former criminals, we have runaways. We're running on an honor system since they're our third level in, and you want to make sure you're giving the PCs a chance to either grow their honor or lose it. But if they're going to lose it, as a DM, give them a reward of some kind. You know, are you willing to earn gold based on points lost of your honor? And go from there. So, deceit and plotting to cover. This could be a pure role-playing or a skill challenge, or a tough, non-lethal combat to bring them in. Now, this isn't going to be a marathon combat section like it was back here. This is going to be just like a tough boss with maybe environmental concerns or hazards about in the fight. They're going to return to the patron in either case. A gnome fight, you'll be called Ankle Biter. All should fear me. Dark Wolf increases charisma to be the cutest to woo. Flax out, walks up to Dark Wolf and rubs against her, falling asleep. Well, I guess you're the sleepiest to woo, too. You have some aura of sleep around you. Flax out says, I'm sorry, that's the first time that happened to me. No, I'm not upset or anything, Flax. I understood. Look, it's the same thing I tell the people in my store. You know, if I hear a bunch of, like, that was effing ridiculous. I'm like, guys, can you keep it? I understand. Like, you just won. It was an epic, you top decked like a pro. But, look, if I have a mom and her 5-year-old kid coming into the store, and it's all of a sudden, F, oh, I got him in the A. You don't really want that as a reputation for your store. Even though I completely understand that exciting stuff like that happens, you won on a disadvantage. That's really cool. That's not a common occurrence. Death Count asks for a res, please. And male gnome fighter. That's what you're talking about. And Dark Wolf becomes the cutest to woo because of the star. Clark says, then a couple of my closest friends and I drove for an hour and a half out of town and just experienced absolute silence and absolute darkness. Nothing but the sounds of ourselves and the light from the moon and the stars. Oh, that's cool. You got to keep it a real-life adventure diary, Clark. Respect, the bard could convince the boss to permanently join the party. Maybe. That is a possibility, Respect. Let's see. Tin Cat goes for the deck of many things. And the donjon. And Dork Immortal walks by, sees a pile of... Dork Immortal walks by, sees a pile of clothes and gear just standing around, and is like... Free gear! Alright! Meanwhile, Tin Cat is is naked and alone somewhere. And, you know, Dork Immortal, it's the deck of many things. It's not rigged, but it certainly can be punishing. Wow, all of this death. Dork Immortal. If you go into the tomb, the random tomb, if you have enough experience points to do that, and you defeat it, I will give you bonus EXP. If you don't know how much experience you have, you can type in !EXP. Tin Cat, how do you escape? Well, someone has to rescue you. Maybe you can ask Darkwolf nicely, or you could always just get a res, please. You know, you're kind of dead, and we can bring you back in another body. You're basically Schrodinger's Tin Cat. Totally rigged 2 consecutive skulls. Well, yep, that's true. You have 2 avatars of death, and so if in that case, if you go into the tomb twice, then I will give you bonus each time. Oh, fornication. I believe my comrade's rear end has been stretched beyond its normal capacity. Oh, jeez. Flax. All right. So here we are. What do we want to have them do? Now, we don't have to make a full entry like this. This is a way that you can conceptualize your milestones. What would we want them to do to earn level 13? We've established a patron, a rival, an enemy, and for our party, we have some people who are chasing after our hermits. We also have to recover this relic. We have the wind, the sea, the sky, the jungle, the mountains. There's a lot of stuff that we can incorporate. What should be the next thing you think we bring our party through? Ivlon, do you have any ideas about where you'd like this to go? Tin Cat attempts to send out a mental distress call to any nearby people. For heck's sake. You also don't do milestone leveling? Okay, no problem. Warlocks get some other cantrips. I do believe. Let's see. Warlock, if you want attack spells, they know Chill Touch, Eldritch Blast, and Poison Spray as cantrips. Let's see. Things are getting Here, things are getting a little intense as we approach the end of our campaign. Let's put on some slightly more intense music. Better than a third skull. So, what is your alignment now, Dork Immortal? An official from one of the region's governments has heard of their reputation. This could be good or bad, because there are good or bad governments in the area, okay? And approaches them with a plea to help them out of their current calamity. Method. Choose a region that is more closely aligned with the party's honor, goals, and reputation, and solicit their help as appropriate for their calamity. So we look here, and let's say let's see, contested leadership, open fighting. Maybe by now they've created a reputation of being peacemakers, or they're maybe in a non-violent route, or even if they're willing to fight, they can be recruited in order to help tip the leadership scale for the region of the mountains and whoever governs that area. And look, the population is wealthy, so maybe they're going to pay very well. So now what you do is, based on the information of this part of the Musica region, you can create a custom level experience. Look, there's a scandal that threatens powerful families. So solving the scandal, either by disproving it, or, I don't know, spreading it further, blackmailing, bribing, you can take an honorable route or a dishonorable route. Now we're involving a little bit more in higher politics. Our fame or infamy is growing. So concepts depends on the region that sought out the party. We should also add as a goal, learn about the HQ of the group that took the relic. Flex out, oh no, or nya in this case. King says, Tin Cat, stop trying to escape death and get into the sack. Death count draws from the deck of many things. Oh, a knight is following you around. Somebody mentioned death. Let Norton know if it dies. It's especially ripe after the second day. Dork Immortal, kind of like how once a week our characters in a kind of like how once per week our characters in a post-apocalyptic futuristic setting, mutant cyborgs, etc., take a dip in radioactive lake. Is that in response to Flax's draw, Dork Immortal? I'm not sure what the context is. And Tin Cat says you love this stream so much. I'm glad that you like it and that we're able to bring you a little bit of joy, especially after a tough day, Tin Cat. Milestone for level 14, downtime with combat elements. As per prior downtime sections of the campaign, though the hermits will be targeted by their pursuers, as the side goal of discovering info about the villainous group / relic is pursued among ship upkeep upgrades. Perhaps a chase? Even if it's not a physical chase, like a chase scene where you're actively rolling die to jump over things coming at you, you can run a chase as like a skill challenge, just a more flavorful one, or a little less like it's a skill challenge, but it's not directly a skill challenge. And you can be chasing down the information and you're hitting these roadblocks along the way. Think kind of like in some video games how you have hacking mini games. Here we have, you can almost narrate it as a series of vignettes as progress. You're battling against the whereabouts of the HQ. You want to do the research. Your hermits have a group from their past that is coming out for them. And so this is downtime. It's going to take place over the course of, I don't know, a month or 2 months or something along those lines. But we need to start resolving some of these other things. Skill challenge, chase, or modified combat. I could even suggest a purely narrated combat. A combat where no dice are rolled. It is pure role-playing and ingenuity. The use of your skills by mention, by flavor, by description. I love these kinds of combats where you do not roll a single die. So that, as a DM, is a good way to have a combat, but make it intrinsic to the storytelling. And you don't have to rely on the dice. Instead, you are relying on the instincts of the player, the awareness of the player, the ability of your player to tell a tale. Flax out 7 and 1. Oh, Flax fell on your own sword. Well, yeah. Seems like Norton's on the case, trying to track down Tin Cat. Sees Tin Cat barely alive and offers to finish him, shows the spear. Excellent role-playing. I'm really enjoying it. Dark Wolf is already the cutest to woo. What should I boost? You want to be? Do you want to be a savage woo? Do you want to increase your strength, maybe? You messed up your tail trying to save Tin. Death count with a nice, a very nice. Raid the enemy ship hideout and recover the relic, having bought time from the pursuers. Learn that their patron is being held hostage by them as well. This isn't just a combat run. This is now also a hostage situation and moral crisis, or rather a moral fork in the road. Boost in to be the smartest a woo now. Tin Cat, I just picture Death Count and Norton trying to get me out so they can either save me or kill me. Yeah, and so what do you do inside your bubble there, right? I blasted something. Concepts, infiltration, and combat. Method, test of honor score in their approach to the enemy, both with social interactions and possible combat situations. And then to conclude the combat and reach, and to conclude the campaign and reach level 16, the goal, having fought through the compound and finding out the villain is out at sea, they have to pursue him after deciding what to do with the patron. A reward of fame or infamy, along with monetary gain, can be offered. Based on that, the crew decides how to chase the villain's boat to put him down, especially if he's rustled political feathers that the party shares. Based on that, the crew decides how to chase the villain's boat down and put him down. Concepts. Set piece boss battle. What is a set piece? A set piece is, in movie terms, it is the large, like the super high budget explosions, buildings are falling down, high adrenaline, everything is happening, high production value kind of a situation. We are on the high seas. We are pirates. Do we want to have this battle between the two ships, with each ship blasting and having combat against each other in the sky, out at sea, down a winding river, under a mountain, perhaps having stones fall on them if they fight too loudly? Where do you want this big set piece boss battle to occur? Use environmental hazards along with the ship/boss combat. Wow, dork. Did you not get on a plane that crashed later or something? You have death following you. Are you cursed, Dork Immortal? I mean, if you're cursed, maybe we all kind of want to slowly scoot to the side and get out of here. You think, I think a May pirate battle would, a Sky pirate battle would be amazing. Definitely high stakes. Hey, right? If something happens to the balloon and your ship plummets, that could be very bad. Tycho is, you are cursed and the dice hate you. Dork Immortal throws a deck of many things into the abyss. And yet, when you wake up the next morning, it'll be right there on your nightstand. All shuffled and ready to go. Tin Cat, Abyss throws the deck back at you. Roll saving throw. So, with this, we should make this a big set-piece boss battle. Right, we should have some minions in the crew, in the opposing crew. We should have environmental hazards like cannonballs streaking across the battlefield. We should also have a mix of not just how hard can you hit, what's your maximum DPR against the boss. Can you also defend your boat, right? We might even want to create custom sky battle tactics to use for the final conflict. So the boats are swirling, they're firing. We have, crew swinging back and forth. It's kind of like Guns of Icarus. You don't just blast the other people. You got to have people repair your ship. You have to have people keep you afloat. Yeah, you have a gunner, but you also have people who steer and do all sorts of other things. So here we have a big dynamic battle. And of course, can you afford to just sink the other ship? Well, if you want to recover that relic, you can't have it lost at sea again. So how are you going to do this? And that'll be solved in the final battle. Now, why am I stopping the campaign at level 16? There are 4 more levels to go until you cap out at 20. 1, because you can. You're a DM. We already told an epic story, and when the story ends, it means that there's room to grow. We can all exercise our imaginations and wonder for the next 4 levels, what are the crew doing? Or you've just planned this far and you wanted to see if your PCs would be interested enough in running kind of an epic level end cap to this story. That's perfectly viable too. Every campaign doesn't run from level 1 to 20. I mean, I say that that's what I do. But every campaign doesn't have to do that. And so here, you end on an ability score increase or a feat. Your characters are ready to face whatever comes next. They've rubbed some elbows. They've rubbed some coin together. They've been around, and now they've made a name for themselves and have taken down one of the big bullies of the region. What can they do in their last 4 levels to further earn fame, infamy, treasure, political clout? What can they do? Because by now, by level 16, people should know the Rising Tide and its crew. And you know what? If along the way here, you even wanted to say, if there's downtime with combat elements, we can even say perhaps a chase. What about a mutiny? New sailor from boss crew. Ooh, right? We lost sailors prior and we had to hire new ones. That's easy enough to do. Someone from the big bad evil guy's crew came aboard and is perhaps sabotaging the ship, spreading rumors, or is causing trouble. You can have something like this happen. Especially if someone is rising, right? Someone is rising, is making it big. Other people want to tear him down. And they might want to do it from the inside. Think about that. So anyway, here we go. Here is a complete campaign from level 3 to 16. We did it. And we incorporated things that we hadn't before that you can find in the DMG. All of this works well in the 5th edition structure, mechanically, with mechanics and fluff, or a crunch, and with storytelling and fluff. We've pulled in elements, strengths, and weaknesses of all of our party members, opportunities and threats. We've explored the region, its politics, you know, we've seen its ups and its downs, its undergrounds. We've been to sea, we've been to sky, we've participated in a race, and we ended on a huge set-piece boss battle as 2 or more ships, because I don't know, maybe they recruit some other ships, maybe they decide to save the patron, and the patron says, you know what, you had 2 chances to screw me over, and by the way, I'm well aware of that, yet you are honest. I will reward you, I will send you backup, and now you have several good guy ships fighting you know, a small fleet of bad guy ships, and you want to talk about a big set piece battle? Or if they decided to dupe the patron and they took the gold the whole way, maybe they buy allies, they buy mercenaries, they buy information, maybe they buy explosives, I don't know. So this campaign is flexible enough if you want an evil party of pirates, or a good party of sailors, or whatever in between. Finally, on a day in which I don't sleep till 12, welcome in, party gnome. Tin Cat says my character isn't dead until we observe him. Tin Cat goes into the forest. Ooh, an orc warband pops out. You attack normally. So Tin Cat, if it prompts you to attack normally, it's 1d20. If it says advantage or disadvantage, it is 2d20. So go ahead and type in 1d20 for me. And Party Gnome wakes up and promptly falls on her sword. Rest in peace, Party Gnome. You know, since we have this this epic battle at the conclusion now, right? We've had these pursuits and everything. Now we can play some pretty intense battle music to end out part 2, complete with cannon fire. Party Gnome asks for a res. Hey, a female elf bard. There you go, Party Gnome. All right, so Tin Cat rolls normally, rolls a 6. You needed an 11. 6 plus 2 is 8. The orc warband carries off Tin Cat into the woods for perhaps unsavory reasons. Or perhaps for savory ones, because you probably taste good, you know, roasted over a fire. Death Count hides in the bushes. Oh. Bye, Party Gnome. Alright, now. Oh, Darkwolf, you got a throne card. I'm sorry if I missed that. Oh, woo, she says. Persuasion, double your proficiency. Okay. So, Darkwolf, the next tomb, Underdark, or Udark, or Epic that you fight, I will give you a bonus on your EXP if you win. Alright, are you ready? We have the villainous ships on the horizon. Our own fleet, under the command of the rising tide, draws upon it. We're building. Dun, 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 dun. Ships ahoy! Mages to the gunnels! Watch the balloons! Watch the sails! Hold her steady! Don't fire until I say! Yes, Flax Out. I would like to see the current state of it, if you want to post it into the Discord. Oh, someone hold Darkwolf's beer. Random epic. With advantage. Delcorin, forget the cookies, hold her beer. 6 and 19. Look at that. Dark Wolf slays the Aboleth. And you win the throne to that keep. There is a mighty woo from some seaside castle. Drawing closer. Don't let the sun stay in your eyes, sailors. Men, women, hold steady. Keep that rope tight. We're drawing nearer. Don't even need the spyglass anymore. Send a flag to our sister ship off the port. Tacticians, keep your flags ready. That's an excellent imagery, Tin Cat. Sister vessels reporting. They're ready. Mages to the gunnels. Keep those buckets of water handy. Everyone, check your harnesses. Are you tied off? I don't want anyone falling overboard. Steady. Fire! Tin Cat, so you're preaching them sailing peacefully, and it's the serene and quiet. Then suddenly, the sound of a cannon echoes, and everyone on the ship looks around confused. A couple seconds later, cannonball slams into the ship, and then off in the distance, a fleet of ships emerges from the clouds, one at a time, slowly revealing how large the enemy force is. You cannot ignore the enemy's girth. Delcorin goes on a stroll through the plains, and a scarecrow pops out. 10? Hey, that's enough. Delcorin wins. 125. Flax runs to the front of the ship doing the Titanic pose. Party gnome. Dark Wolf, help me. Help me, Queen of Woo. Also, why am I some kind of damsel in distress situation? First the sphere, then it's getting kidnapped by orcs. Alright, we've told a story. We've told a tale. We have taken the crew of the Rising Tide. They started out as scrappy losers in this triathlon. Over months, even a year in this campaign setting. They've gone underwater. They've gone through dungeons. They've passed over and under mountains, through freshwater and salt. They've had chances to deceive and be deceived. They have had an epic set-piece aerial naval combat. They've also been at their lowest. They've been beaten, right here, high combat. As DMs, we heat-treated. The hotter the fire, the harder the steel. We beat them down and they came back. You know, in Firefly, they are the big damn heroes. And now, the smoldering ruins of this villain. Well, hopefully they were able to get the relic off. But with the villain's fleet, with the villain's armada suppressed, the relic back in the hands to which it belongs, a patron, a wealthy, influential patron, perhaps saved or ransomed. You can run an evil party through this. What will their future hold after in level 16 and beyond? You think about that. Where would you take this adventure? What would you have this scrappy crew do? Where would they go? What would they fight? Would they stay? Would they want to be would they want to be the big fish in the small pond that is Musica? Or perhaps they'd set their sails and balloons to a new horizon, to trade outside the borders of Musica, to find foreign people in foreign lands, to explore the wilds. That's up for you. What do you want them to do? What would you do as a player in this situation? What would you do as a DM? War is on the horizon. The relic could have only been the first step. The patron might have been a good guy, or a bad guy the whole time. Where they played for patsies and have to struggle at the end as the cannons, not their last from that battle, as the cannons now are pointed elsewhere. Tin Cat, if this campaign was a book, I'd read it. Sounds absolutely amazing. Well, thank you. All right, what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to take a second break. I'm going to get a little bit more water, and I will come back, and we will go into part 3. Now, I have to get up earlier than normal in the morning tomorrow, so I probably am not going to go too much longer past 3 a.m. my time. It's 2:10 a.m. Currently, okay? So we'll still have a part 3. We'll still talk, and you guys can adventure and roleplay and do everything else over here. You know, this is our end of the week session. So give me 5 or 10 minutes to refresh myself, and I'll be back, and we'll have a lot more fun after that, okay? And Tin Cat, thank you. I'm glad that you were able to gather so much from the imagery. If this inspired you to make a story for yourself, if this inspired you to want to be more involved in D&D, however you want to be. And you know what? Even if Ivalos is out there, I know that this, you know, this isn't exactly your bag on how you, well, it's over here. This isn't exactly how you do your campaign plotting. Although I will tell you, I challenged myself because I did access things in the DMG specifically and reference tables and whatnot. So I was trying to run a fun fusion blend. But for all, oh no, Norton is now in the void. So all of you know, Ivalon is going to be the guest DM next week. Next week we should have a full 5 days. So 5 characters, a map. We'll go over a dungeon and we'll have a campaign discussion. Ivalon, being the guest DM, will take us through ways that you can build a dungeon and ways that you can go about plotting a campaign in a way, in a way that will be different than what I have presented, and if you were here last week, in a way different than Macabre Derek presented his horror-themed content. If this is the first you've heard of it, Evelyn, then very coincidentally, you've been working on things all your own. Which, by the way, if you want to see Ivalon work, I would suggest going over to his channel. And Ivalon, you can, if you want to put a link to your YouTube channel, you're welcome to do so. But as you're going to be the guest DM next week, it's going to offer different ways, different views. I feel that my strength in writing campaigns is kind of like how you put it, Tin Cat. I'm more the novel writer. I'm a big storyteller. I go from 1 to 20 in my own campaigns. My campaigns last like a year and a half, with weekly sessions. But Ivalon does it differently. Derek does it differently. You all out there are going to do it differently yourselves. And so I don't feel that if it's just me producing this content and these thoughts, I could truly express how D&D can be conceptualized or approached. And so, thankfully, I would accept you, but I'm writing for... Oh, okay, got you. Oh, geez, yeah. Ivlon has quite the the full schedule. So anyway, I want to showcase those who want to approach the game in a different style and share this platform, share this this soapbox that I stand on every now and again, and highlight it, because D&D means so much to different people. You know, we had Shippo in here earlier, right? And he was trying to, and I'm not saying this in a derogatory fashion, he was trying to min-max a character for maximum speed and the maximum number of attacks you could get, you know, by like redlining character like multi-class choices. And that was a fun thinking exercise. And I'll tell you, if any of you out there are min-maxers, if you're care-oppers, you know, character optimization, care-op, we could have these conversations as well on how to build, like, you know, we would actually just manufacture a party straight up to be the best paladin, you know, the best barbarian, the best wizard, or something along those lines. And we can do sort of a more math-based care-up. And then on the flip side, we have optimized characters. How do we go about optimizing dungeons and combats and boss battles and stuff like that? So... yep, and hey, you know, Tin Cat is throwing a hat out there. Please use this platform as a way to find each other, play games, online, or, you know, through like some video heads up like Skype or Roll20 or Google Hangouts or something. This isn't just the me show. I may have my username on the channel, but this is a medium. You all are a community over here doing your own thing. Okay? I'm happy with that. And if you need a special channel or something on Discord, let me know, and I'll hook you up with it. In fact, we even... I added a project workshop because it did come out that, you know, having one voice channel, that this is good for general stuff. But if there are people who want to collude on a project, kind of like what Ivalon and Flaxout were doing earlier, I think I saw Macabre in there too. Or was it Bobicus? Someone else was in there for a little bit too. But anyway, use this as a resource over here. Arthas. Oh, yeah, it is Friday. Hi, Arthas, if you're watching out there. I didn't see you make a comment. Arthas does like dropping in character art on Fridays. And he said he'd drop in a couple different pieces that he likes every week. If you call this a Roman, I'll give you the disappointed father look. Ooh. I wonder if he's a revenant. He has that nasty gash. That's like a tank Aarakocra. Very cool. Well, Arthas, if you're out there, man, thank you for sharing. You want to? So Delcorin wants to see a gravy hot tub in the next place that that we make. So I guess we would be making some sort of like I don't know if Norton the Knoll is out there, but I'm sure that Norton will prepare a gravy hot tub for you if you're willing to climb into it, Delcorin. Okay, I'm gonna get up and take my break. So I will. I'll see you all in a couple minutes.